Welcome to this episode of the Connecting Faith to Life podcast. I'm Trey Rhodes, the Connections Pastor at Northwood Baptist Church here in North Charleston, South Carolina. In just a few moments, our lead pastor, Dr. Tommy Metter, will be joining the conversation as well. In our crazy and chaotic world, our hope is that these few minutes will help you stop and reflect on your relationship with Jesus as you learn to connect Christ-centered faith to your everyday life. And this is episode 179 of the Connecting Faith to Life podcast. So we're moving right along. So as we continue to move, you move with us. Take just a couple minutes and invite somebody to come join the podcast. It's a joy to have people know about it on Facebook, Twitter. Call your friends, talk to them in your small group, Life Connection group, and just invite them to come be a part of Connecting Faith to Life. Pastor, I got to admit, I am thrilled about the topic today because Christmas is one of my favorite times of the year.
Is it really?
And now, as far as a individual holiday, my favorite is always going to be Easter and always will be because of the resurrection of Christ. But as far as a season...
Yeah, we don't really celebrate an Easter season. We celebrate Christmas season. There's so much anticipation and build up Christmas Day, and then it's all over with.
The day after you're going, whoa,
that's over. It's amazing how fast it's over. I mean, honestly, like by noon on Christmas Day, it's over. All the gifts are opened, and
you're going, is there anything else?
No, that's it. I mean, that's just
as a kid. I was so consumed by avarice. I would, we would open 53 presents, and I would always say, "Is that all there is?"
I know.
Anyway,
got your Christmas shopping done?
Actually, I think except for one or two things, we're done. Yeah. I mean, for all practical purposes, and thank goodness for Amazon and Walmart online because
I tell you what, this time of year,
stores. I just don't like to go into stores anymore.
I am very thankful this time of year for those Amazon truck drivers.
Yes.
That's a job.
Oh, I don't even want to think about that.
They start delivering packages in our neighborhood at 4 a.m. They don't stop until 3 in the morning. I mean, it's there 23 hours a day they're in there. They sleep for 1 hour and then they get back on the truck.
24/7. I mean, they're doing it on Sunday. They're doing it every day of the week. So.
Oh, man, those guys.
I tell them not to deliver on Sunday, and they still deliver on Sunday. Say any day but Sunday, and they still deliver anyway because, anyway, I have a issue with that. But point is that
they're working hard.
Yeah, they are, and we appreciate their hard work.
They
are. We really do.
They are the Santa Clauses.
They really
real
are.
Santa Clauses are the Amazon truck drivers.
So as we think about Christmas this year, I think it is a great opportunity for us to just kind of focus on the Christmas season and how we can do some things that are going to really make the most of what the season is all about.
Yeah, so this is going to be just really down to earth and real practical and just kind of talk through some things that, I'm probably going to say a lot of things that, not new, but just good things to remind ourselves of as we're in the Christmas season. And, Christmas is an interesting holiday because it is a season. I mean, it extends from right there at the end of Thanksgiving. For some of us, it starts before Thanksgiving. We start putting up our lights like I do and all those kinds of things.
I was going to say some of us, meaning you.
We do, and then we just enjoy it through the New Year, really. Once New Year is over, then we begin to move on with life. But we take a whole month, or a little more than a month, to stop and, for us as Christians, think about the birth of Jesus. If you're not a Christian, you're thinking about lots of other things. I have no idea. But for us as Christians, we stop and we just take a whole month to celebrate the birth of Jesus, which is really interesting because just throughout church history, we're not really sure how all this started.
We heard a little, I almost think a mythical story.
Yeah.
When we were in Jerusalem with Caesarea Maritima, and they would come celebrate on the 25th. Did you think there was any validity in that? I just curious.
That was the first time I ever heard that. So I don't know. Maybe I need to do some more research on that. I don't know.
That would have been early. Yeah. That would have been way earlier than I think they even thought about celebrating Christmas.
The reality is we don't have any record of the early church celebrating the birth of Jesus. We certainly have record of the early church celebrating the resurrection of Jesus.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, that was the primary reason why Christians met on Sunday to worship.
Exactly.
Was to remember the resurrection of Jesus. And so the church has always celebrated the resurrection, but we don't really have any record of early Christians in that first century, shortly after the ascension of Jesus, celebrating his birth. I mean, and when you read through the Gospels, I mean, we only have 2 Gospels that really give us the account of the birth. And so for whatever reason in the very early church, it just wasn't as significant as the resurrection. Now here we are, 2,000 years later. It seems like we put more significance on Christmas than we do on Easter. We celebrate for a month the Christmas season, and a day the resurrection. So I'm not saying that's right or wrong. That's just kind of what we do, right? So we really don't know how Christmas really got started. By the time we get to you remember the Emperor Constantine, don't you? He was the guy in Rome that really paved the way for Christianity to be legalized in the Roman Empire, for Christians not to face persecution anymore. So sometime in that time period, Christmas began to be more celebrated, but we don't really know when. And that kind of makes sense too. You went to Israel with me. We went to Bethlehem, and we saw the Church of the Nativity. And you remember, Trey, that Constantine's mother, she was the one, Helena, who said this is where it happened.
Right.
She, as the
she
story,
did research. I mean, she just didn't show up.
Right. As the story goes, she was in the area, and she was with followers of Jesus who had already kind of marked the spots, and then say, hey, this is where it happened. And then she begins to build churches on top of these locations. So that makes sense. If you have Helena there in Jerusalem and Bethlehem, and it would make sense that once the Roman Empire begins to understand that this is where it happened, that maybe Christmas would begin to be more celebrated. I don't know. I'm just thinking
we don't
that.
know.
We don't know that. I'm just making things up as I go, kind of. So we do know that during that time, that's when Christmas started to be celebrated. So that makes it interesting, because you think about Christmas, it can be kind of a controversial holiday.
Yeah, I know.
Like I know,
I've had people leave
I know
our
Christians,
church.
right? I know Christians who don't celebrate Christmas, and that's fine if that's your conviction. You don't have to celebrate Christmas. Whatever, that's your choice. But a lot of times the argument for not celebrating Christmas is, well, Christmas has pagan roots. It's a pagan holiday that Christians have kind of taken over, whatever the case may be. The reality is we don't have any historical evidence that says it's a pagan holiday that Christians kind of overtook. Now, there is historical evidence that there were lots of different holidays that were taking place in the Roman Empire, winter solstice.
I was going to say built around the winter solstice.
Right. That which kind of makes sense. I mean, the winter solstice was like, okay, the worst of winter is over, and then so spring is going to come, and so let's celebrate. And so in December, you had this winter solstice going on. There was one that celebrated the goddess or the god Saturn, right? Saturnalia, and there's a lot of speculation that Christmas was put in place kind of as an alternative holiday, because Saturn was Roman god,
right?
And that celebration was like December 3rd to December 17th, and so there was an what were they called? A pope. I couldn't think of what the thing was called. The Pope, the Pope, Rome, all that kind of stuff. But there's some legend that Pope Julius I, around 350 AD, declared Christmas a holiday kind of in response to that celebration of Saturn. We just don't know if that's true or not. I mean, it may have happened that way. We just don't know. So when it comes to the origins of Christmas, we just don't really have a whole lot of historical evidence as to how Christmas got started, other than it began to be celebrated, and by the time you get into the 4th and 5th centuries, Christmas is beginning to spread all over the place, and so it could have been, in that 1st or 2nd century, Christians started to celebrate a little bit, and then by the time Constantine comes into power in the Roman Empire, then it really starts to take off. And maybe it was that Pope Julius kind of set it straight and made it a holiday. We just don't know.
We're studying the book Knowing God with J.I. Packer, and we're in the part about the incarnation right now. And one of his things is the incarnation to Greek philosophy is so anti-Greek philosophy,
right? Because
they understood the demigod thing, but there was no way you could say God became man and remained God. They just couldn't fathom that, and the impact that made on the church. And they began to understand. And then I did a little research a long time ago about it, and the one of the big things was the Gnostics, and they didn't believe that God was a human.
That's right. And
so the church began to make a big deal out of Christmas for the purpose of the incarnation, to say he is God-man.
So you have all these things that things were starting to happen, and somehow, some way, Christmas begins to be celebrated on a regular basis. What most scholars will tell you, right, is that while we celebrate Christmas on December 25th, that is likely not the birthday of Jesus, right?
No one
probably not even in that season. So, but however it happened, we have Christmas now, and the Christmas holiday that we celebrate, the birth of Jesus, is probably not true that it has pagan origins. There were pagan holidays, just like there are pagan holidays now. I mean, that stuff.
Sure
I mean, but just because there are pagan things around us, it does not mean that the things that we celebrate as Christians are pagan in origin, right? And so it's kind of interesting when you go back and look at that. So, however it happened, we have Christmas, and we have Saint Nicholas.
Saint Nicholas, which he is one of my heroes of the
Santa
faith.
Claus.
Not because he's Santa Claus, but St. Nicholas is one of my heroes.
But that's a wild story too. Yeah. I mean, because doing some research on jolly old St. Nicholas,
he wasn't as jolly as you think he was.
No, he wasn't. We really don't have any primary sources on his life. There's things have been written over the years, kind of secondary and tertiary sources, but to get back and to really know who he was, we know that Nicholas was a bishop. We know that he was a defender of the faith.
Yes.
And we know that he was a generous guy. And that was kind of interesting. You have this legend now of Santa Claus and the gift giving and all that kind of stuff. Well, there was this real guy named Nicholas, who was a bishop who
was Turkish.
Yeah, right. And apparently he had very wealthy parents.
Yes.
And when his parents died and he received that inheritance, the way he used his inheritance was by giving money away. Mm-hmm. So you can go back and legends say that he would find empty shoes and put money in empty shoes. I mean, I'd like to find some money in my empty shoes, but he would do that.
Wouldn't we all?
And there was one story, we have the idea of Santa Claus dropping off gifts at the house, right? Mm-hmm. So apparently there was this man who had some daughters and wanted his daughters to get married, but back in those days, there were monetary transactions, a dowry that had to be paid, right? Yeah. And so he couldn't afford the dowry, and so worried that his daughters would never marry because he could not afford the dowry so they could be married. And the legend goes that Saint Nicholas knew of this, and as they're in the house at night, he drops a big old bag of cash in the window so that these daughters could get married, kind of thing. So you have all these things may be true. We just don't know. But we have this story of this man who was very generous with what he had, and that eventually grows into this story of Saint Nicholas. And then as time goes on, this guy turns into a red-suited man with a white beard who lives in the North Pole. Now, how all that happened, I have no idea. There's
Coca-Cola
connections with Germany and all kinds of right, but that's it comes down to it. I mean, that's more of a 19th, 20th century kind of thing. But the Saint Nicholas has its origins, or Santa Claus has its origins in this real life saint, or we call him a saint. That's what the Catholic Church would call him. We just call him a follower of Jesus. It's interesting. And your church history, that there's legend that this Saint Nicholas showed up at a very famous church council, the Council of Nicaea, where the Council of Nicaea was debating the nature of Jesus. Mm-hmm. Is he fully human? Is he fully God? Is he fully human? And there was a heretic named Arius, right, who did not believe that Jesus was fully human. And there's this story that Nicholas was there.
Yeah.
And Nicholas lost his temper and punched him in the face.
Exactly.
Yeah, great. So we don't know if that really happened or not, but it makes for a great story.
It is a good story.
It's a great story. But all that to say, you've got Christmas. We're not really sure of the origins of it. We just know that we celebrate. We have the St. Nicholas thing. And even with that, again, it's controversial. Santa Claus and Christmas and all the materialism, and I don't know what you do with your family with Santa Claus and all that kind of stuff. I know years ago, before we had children, Stacy and I, we just decided not to do Santa Claus. I mean, if you decide to do Santa Claus, that's your business, I guess. But we just decided we just didn't want that to be the focus of our Christmas celebration. Well, we still give gifts. We probably give too many gifts. I have no idea. But we've just never done Santa Claus. We never even really talked about Santa Claus. Yeah. I mean, when Luke was young, when he was 3 or 4 years old, every time he saw Santa Claus somewhere, he thought it was Noah.
You told me that.
Noah.
That's
Look, there's Noah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Noah. That makes sense.
That's interesting.
Red suit, hat. Yeah. I'm sure Noah looked like that. But anyway, and then when they started to ask about Santa Claus, we explained to them St. Nicholas. I mean, we watched a lot of VeggieTales when they were kids. And there's a great VeggieTales video on St. Nicholas that helps kids to understand the. That's
interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it really is good. Well done. So anyway, you have
These
to figure out with your own family.
This is personal preference.
It really
is.
You have to figure out with your own family, but
don't go overboard. Whatever you do.
That's right. But man, we are in this Christmas season, and it's a great holiday for us. We set aside to remember the incarnation, that Jesus has come. God has come to us in the flesh.
Amen.
And so with that, I mean, just 4 simple ways that you can make the most of Christmas this year.
All right, let's go ahead and talk about the first one. Let's keep Christmas focused.
Yeah, that's pretty easy breezy, right?
Yeah, I agree.
So here's what I know, that over the past month, there's been a lot going on.
Wow.
And it's hard. It's hard to stay focused when there's so much going on, right? And so just coming back to why we celebrate, there's the temptation of materialism. There's a temptation to let your calendar be taken over by events. There's the temptation to run here and there, but just stay in focus. We really do have a month to think about the reality that God has come in the flesh for us. It's a huge deal. You think about the presence of God. The presence of God among us in human form. I mean, you think about when John writes his gospel, he says, we have seen him. We have seen his glory, right? I mean, it's a big deal. You think about, just the majesty of God now incarnate in human form. You remember back in the book of Exodus when Moses was on Mount Sinai and he said, God, I want to see you. God said nope. Or you think about how in the wilderness they constructed the tabernacle and then later on the temple. And who could go inside the temple? Who could go inside the tabernacle? Only the priest.
Only the high priest.
And only the high priest could go behind the veil of the curtain and offer sacrifice one time a year on the Ark of the Covenant. I couldn't think of, my brain was going blank. On the Ark of the Covenant. Only one time a year could the high priest do that. Now, he didn't see God on the Ark of the Covenant, but that Ark of the Covenant, it represented the presence of God. Mm-hmm. But now, the presence of God among his people, everybody can see him.
That's just... Look
on his face. Touch him.
I mean, right? that is almost unfathomable.
It's unfathomable.
Yeah.
John, and it was unfathomable for John.
Yeah.
I mean, not only that, you think about what John, we have seen his glory. He saw what Moses did not see. But what John saw, he did not just see Jesus, he saw Jesus transfigured. Mm-hmm. You think when Jesus took James, Peter, and John up the mountain and he's shown, right, with glory, his garments were white. I mean, the idea of, man, John saw Jesus for who he really was. And then saw the resurrected Lord. I mean, and so I have seen him, John says. Mm-hmm. Now, none of us have seen Jesus face to face. But still, because of our faith in Jesus Christ, because we've trusted Christ as Lord and Savior of our lives, the God of all creation, his Spirit has taken up residence in us. The presence of God is with us. The presence of God is in us. This is what the incarnation is all about. That's exactly God has come for us. And just, during the Christmas season, just focusing on that reality. I mean, that's what changes our lives, is knowing that God is with us. Emmanuel, God is with us. That's a really cool thing.
A few weeks ago, we asked everybody to start reading through Luke. And, you get 24 chapters and up to Christmas Eve. So I hope you've continued that. And even if you had, go ahead and start today.
That's right.
It's a great opportunity and will help keep you focused.
Yeah.
All right, number 2, let's keep Christmas simple.
Yeah, just, it's okay. Because, and this is a word for me, because I know that during this season, it is easy to get overwhelmed. Mm-hmm. I think about the last couple of weeks. There have not been many nights I've been home because of different things I've had to be at because of the holidays. Or to think about, now stressing out, trying to make sure I've got enough gifts for everybody. Mm-hmm. And then think about, okay, now I got the travel schedule to think through, right? We got to do a Christmas Day service here at Northwood, and I got to head to my parents' house, and then we got to head to Stacy's parents' house. Seems to be nothing simple about Christmas, at least for us.
No, I think it's,
and I joke with people, and
it becomes complex very fast.
I joke with people, and it's a joke, but at the same time, it's kind of a reality. Is that Christmas is the most wonderful time of the year. It really is. There's the wonder and awe of Christmas. I mean, we love, all the traditions, the Christmas lights, all that kind of stuff. It's a lot of fun. It is the most wonderful time of the year. But at the same time, it's the worst time of the year. Right? It's the most wonderful time and the worst time because you're just pulled in so many different directions, And so for me, going forward, it's just learning how to say no. It's okay if you're not at every Christmas event. It's okay if you forget to get a gift. right? It's okay if your kids don't get everything they want for Christmas. It's okay. It's okay if you miss some things. It's okay if you keep it simple. There's nothing wrong with keeping it simple. And I need to do a better job of learning how to keep Christmas focused and just keep it simple.
What we did, and people can take this or leave it, but we chose to not make Christmas Day the day we gave gifts.
Yeah.
We chose to do it early, and then we would do Christmas was for Jesus.
Oh, yeah.
And we would have a big breakfast, and we'd celebrate Christ and all those things. So we just did that, and the kids were ecstatic because they got the presents early.
Right. Well, we don't do Christmas gifts on Christmas Day either, but for a different reason.
Yeah.
We do Christmas gifts on Christmas Eve because Christmas Day is always a travel day for us.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
But anyway, we did that, and I think the kids to this day don't have this somehow fixation on the 25th.
Yeah.
It's more the season of the year, so it worked, I think.
Yeah, just figuring out how to keep it simple. It's okay to say no. Yeah. It's okay to not be at every event. It's okay not to not get everybody all those gifts. I mean, it's okay to be simple. Amen. It's a good thing.
Number 3, keep Christmas, and I like this last word, fun.
Yeah, keep Christmas fun, because it is a fun time of the year. And I know for me, and probably like you, Trey, just all the memories that I have as a kid and even as an adult around the Christmas season, there's nothing wrong with those traditions. There's while we're saying keep it simple, at the same time, enjoy the season. There's nothing wrong. I mean, one of the traditions we've had here since we moved to Charleston is going down to the Christmas lights on James Island.
Yeah.
That's just wonderful, right? We do that every year. It's a lot of fun. We haven't done it yet this year. I'm sure next week we'll go sometime, but that's become a tradition. And we've seen those lights now a bunch of times. It's the same thing every year. But it sure is fun, and
do y'all get out and go roast the marshmallows and
we
all
do,
that stuff?
We do the whole thing.
Yeah, I do.
I mean,
too.
it's fun. And we'll drive around that thing, I don't know, 45 times. Because you pay $20 to get in. We're going to get that $20 worth.
Amen,
you know what I'm saying?
that.
So we ride around and we look at, so we've rode around that thing a million times, but we still do it. We enjoy it. It's fun, right? So there's nothing wrong with having those fun traditions. We're trying to figure out this year, what's another fun tradition? My boys love Waffle House.
Hey, that's cool.
So we're thinking, it's always a hectic on Christmas Day, and this year it's going to be even more hectic on Christmas Day because we have a worship service at 11 o'clock, and then we're going to be trying to get out of town, and so Stacy's trying to figure out what to cook for breakfast. I'm like, let's start a new tradition. We'll just start going to Waffle House on Christmas Day.
That sounds like a good idea.
Right. I'm sorry for those employees that have to work on Christmas Day, but if they're going to work, might as well be there and enjoy the food, right?
They're working whether I show up or not.
Yeah, so those fun traditions are good to have and establish, and those traditions in the faith, right? I can't remember a time in my life that I didn't go to a Christmas Eve service. That's a big deal.
It is.
I can't remember a time in my life where there wasn't some kind of focus at Christmas, whether it was through a Christmas musical or like we do here at North, we just had House for the Holidays, a Christmas Eve service, some kind of big production that helped us to focus on the birth of Christ. All those things are good and they're fun. And so while you're keeping it simple, at the same time, enjoy it. Have fun.
And Charleston's unique in that you can go downtown and there must be tonight 30 things going on tonight. I mean, literally any night you want to go, there is.
You want to find Christmas? It's everywhere.
Yeah, they got the Nutcracker or whatever. So enjoy it. Enjoy it. Going down there and being a part. All right, and number 4, and I think this is probably where we're talking about a focused Christmas. And number 4 is this: keep Christmas evangelistic.
Yeah, what an opportunity we have every year at Christmas. I look forward to our Christmas Eve service because there can be people here that do not know Jesus. I don't know, we haven't had Christmas Day service in a long time, but there'll probably be some people here on Christmas Day that don't know Jesus.
I'm sure there will be.
And so it just really is. And you think about just what's so unique about Christmas is we live in a culture where it seems like there is just this growing hostility towards Christians and the Christian faith.
Yeah.
It just really is, right? And you don't have to look far to see that. But something unique about the Christmas season. While the culture seems to grow in hatred towards the Christian faith, at the same time, they'll listen to the radio during the Christmas season and hear, I Saw Mommy Kissing Santa Claus, and then the very next song will be Away in a Manger.
Or Hark the Herald Angels Sing, which is one of the most theological songs ever written.
You think about it. This time of year, everybody's listening to music that speaks about the birth of Jesus. You'll watch TV shows that, every other word's a cuss word in, but then at the end there's a nativity scene because it's Christmas time.
Yep.
And so at Christmas time, people are seeing or hearing about the birth of Jesus, but they just don't have a clue what it means or the significance of it. And so what an opportunity for us as followers of Jesus to be extremely evangelistic during this time of the year. You think about just in your neighborhood, people are more apt to have, just parties in their homes or, cookie exchanges or whatever, and open up your doors and have your neighbors over. It's just an easy time of year to be very hospitable and to have conversations about what matters. And I don't want us to waste Christmas. I want us to use Christmas for the glory of Jesus Christ.
Speaking of our Christmas Eve service, we had a lady that has returned to our church for the first time since 2019 who first came here for a Christmas Eve service.
How about that?
That was this past Sunday. So,
how about that?
The opportunities are endless. And so invite your friends to a Christmas Eve service that we have here, or whatever it is. And as you said, this is the one time of the year that people will not only allow you to talk about Jesus, but they really listen to you as you talk about Jesus. So
I think it's true. I've heard a lot of church growth gurus say that the Christmas holiday is for unbelievers and the Easter holiday is for believers. What I mean by that, not the Christmas holiday is obviously for believers, but what I mean by that is when it comes to going to church. When we have Easter Sunday, we usually pack this place out.
Right.
But most people who come on Easter Sunday are followers of Jesus.
Yeah.
I mean, we have people who maybe haven't been in church in a while, but they know Christ. Christmas, however, is different because Christmas, you'll have more people who are not followers of Jesus come to a worship service than you do at Easter time. Right, so you think about Christmas Eve. I mean, there's just something about Christmas that even people who are not followers of Jesus say, you know what, it might be a good idea for me to go to church. And so it just really is a highly evangelistic time for us because the opportunity is just right there for the taking.
Amen. Well, Pastor, I think this has been great to just get us back to where we need to be as we kind of pull back from everything that's going on and start to look at the real reason for Christmas.
Absolutely.
Christ is Christmas. Don't forget that, and the impact that that's going to make not only in your life, but those around you and your children and others. All right, Pastor. Well, as we continue, why don't you close us out and get us ready for next week?
All right. I hope today's been an encouragement and a blessing to you. I hope if you like this podcast that you'll hit that subscribe button so you can have new content delivered to your device every single week. Leave us a 5-star review. That helps us get word out about our podcast. And as always, we hope today's episode has helped you connect faith to life.